This week in 40K.
Colin, you're muted. While Colin figures out his microphone, welcome to This Week in 40K, short show about the grim dark that is neither grim nor dark. He's Colin, bent over trying to figure out where his microphone is. I'm Billy, and we're here to talk to you about a very relevant week of 40K. Hi, Colin. You there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and good morning to Billy, of course. I am in a fantastic mood.
Ooh,
I'm here to bring my fantastic mood to everyone because there's been too much sad in 40K. Too much frustration, too much annoyance, too much 40K, too much of that. Okay? So, I woke up this morning hype. My life has been very hard lately, and I realized as I was getting ready for this morning that there are so many exciting things happening right now. And so before we even get started, I was going to list exciting things.
Come at me.
All right. First of all, Nova happened this weekend. Nova is an awesome tournament. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to see that people finished. And what's even cooler about that is that the people that did well at it are not the names that you'd expect. Like 5, 6, 7, 8, sure. But 1, 2, 3, 4? We'll talk about that. Actually, 1, 2, 3. Excuse me.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. 4, 5, 6. Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Yes, exactly. So that's really neat. As the community grows, it's really neat to see different names and different people come in. Football season starts this weekend. Mm-hmm. Impossible not to be excited about that if you're a football fan. The Best in Tabletop Discord did our fantasy draft last night. I thought the auction draft mechanic was very fun, and I had no idea what I was doing, which is a wonderful combination. So that's very exciting. And also, in addition to that, if you're a video game fan, Baldur's Gate 3 is amazing, and Starfield is very good. So you've got a lot of game choices right now if you are just waiting for Thursday. Why are we waiting for Thursday? Because Thursday is when 40K supposedly gets fixed. Now, I don't want to be too hype about gets fixed, but I have faith in them, and we're going to talk about that in the episode. I have faith in their ability to right the ship. So far, the things that I know that I can't talk about are positive. So I'm pretty darn excited about that. Let's see. What did I forget? I forgot something that's like 9 days from now. What is it? And then, of course, the biggest thing of my 40K year is in 9 days. And that's Charity Hammer, and it's going to be crazy. This is going to be by far the most entertaining Charity Hammer we've ever done. It's going to be the easiest to follow along. It's going to be the easiest to participate with. It's going to be the easiest to win things from. All the things. So we'll talk about that a little bit when we get to our news. But that's 9 days from now, and I can't possibly be any more excited about it. So those are the reasons I'm hyped this morning. Billy, did I forget any reasons that you're hyped this morning?
Well, the top story that we're going to move into is one of your favorite factions got completely released, at least rules-wise, into the wild. But we can touch on that when we click a fun pre-roll video. That covered just about everything. We are in a state of absolute flux in 40K, and that makes this show a particularly interesting one because there's a lot of things to talk about, but a lot of the normal things to talk about are not the most relevant. Lists from last weekend will not be particularly impactful for next weekend.
Yeah. As an Eldar fan, I'm pretty excited. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
Shall we continue? Let's go.
Our top story.
Woo! What's our top story, Billy?
Of all of the things that you talked about, there was one that was missing, and let's spend some time on that. And it's NIDS. NIDS got fully, the NDAs got lifted on Saturday. All of the review sites sent out their reviews. As a kind reminder, please subscribe to this program and do so with all of your various accounts and have all of your various friends do so the same so that we may too be one of those people who get the fancy fun previews. But NIDS are out. And other than the miniatures, which I think are the best miniatures that they've made for 40K thus far, the new NID stuff I just think is the coolest sculpts that they have done.
That Norm Emissary is so neat.
And the Norm Emissary, all the
Death Leaper is really cool.
Yeah. I think it's a meaningful upgrade in terms of the quality of sculpts that 40K is getting. AOS has, to my mind, kicked the crap out of 40K in terms of quality of sculpts for a while now, and this is the first time I'm like, yeah, this is just amazing. And the rules seem good without being broken, but I defer to my more bug-brained friend on the other side of the screen for that analysis. As my pig scratches herself behind me.
I don't know. I was trying to make Tyranid noises. I don't know. I actually don't know what noises they make. I do know that every time I move Venom throw-ups, I go. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so yes, no, I love Tyranids. I have a huge Tyranid collection. I am, of course, excited about the Codex. However, when many of your closest friends play Tyranids, it is less exciting to also play Tyranids. However, I think that there's a couple things that are really interesting as takeaways from this. First of all, the data sheets in the Codex are extremely unchanged. There are very small changes to the data sheets. There's a change to Gene Stealers. There's a change to Termagant weaponry, but it's very small. Okay, and I think that that's interesting because it means that when they made the index for Tyranids, they kind of knew what they were doing and where they were headed. And I wasn't actually expecting that. I was thinking that there would be more differences, other than obviously there's new data sheets for the new models that were shown off. But the vast majority of the data sheets are unchanged. So, and then of course their points went down a little bit. And yesterday, GW said in a Facebook post that the Tyranid book is not being addressed on September 7th. Well, I got to tell you, I got 3 different sources that tell me that's a lie. And that the Codex is in fact getting updated points on Thursday that are not the points from the index, and they're not the points from the Codex. So we'll see if that rumor is correct, because remember, I don't get early content, and if I did, I certainly couldn't tell you that Tyranid points are being changed on September 7th. I am going purely off the rumors of what 3 different of my incredibly, legitimate sources have told me. Some of which are not right all the time. Wait, all of them are not right all the time, but that's what I'm hearing. So I think it's interesting that they studied that they kept the ship kind of the way it was headed, and what they did is they added the 5 other detachments. They left 1 detachment alone and said, this is the Hive fleet that was in the index, so great, there you could still play that one. And then there's these 5 other ones, and they're really varied and they have great flavor to them, and they don't mix it up like they did. Some Gene Stealer codexes have a bad habit of saying, okay, this particular Hive cult gets 1 of the good melee buffs and 2 of the good shooting buffs. But this one over here gets the other shooting buff that you really need. And they did this thing where they broke out kind of how the list would work, and they mixed it up. And that was in not the most recent GSC Codex, but the previous one. Right. So I like that they didn't do that. If you go through the rules for each detachment, it's very clear what their goal is, what their aim is. And I think that that's great. I think it's really exciting. I'm really positive about the Tyranid Codex. I think it's good, solidly good. And if the S tier comes crashing down, if they nerf GSC and Eldar and some of the other armies, I think Custodes is a real problem for Tyranids. So if they nerf some of the other big scaries, I think that Tyranids become kind of an A+ list. Mm-hmm. Maybe an S-, right? We don't certainly it's not solved, right? We don't know everything that it can do. But my opinion of it is it seems good, not amazing. That's what it feels like to me. But what I really like about that is I like it when Tyranids are repped by the people that really love Tyranids. Mm-hmm. It's really important to me. I just don't know really exactly how to articulate it, but I love Orc fans, right? Right. Orc players are like super into 40K typically. They've done kit bashing, they love their models, they're fun to play against. I like that for Tyranids as well. I think Tyranids is kind of a thing where when half of the people at the tournament or a third of the people at the tournament are playing Tyranids, it's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Because they're not, I think because they're not one of the standard mechanics, right? There's a lot of armies that wear power armor. They're not one of them.
Right.
So I think that I want them to be popular and I want people to enjoy them, but I want it to be more of the people that love Tyranids and less of the every meta player jumps to Tyranids because they're the best thing.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on the Tyranid Codex. I actually didn't want it to be S tier. I was not excited for that.
Yeah, I actually often, for the armies that I most enjoy, want them to be like solidly A, maybe even A minus, just so that I know that I can spend the time really learning the army and it's not going to get whapped with the nerf bat. And
Right.
personally, like the reason I'm not playing Eldar right now is that I just don't find the games particularly enjoyable. So like there is an overpowered level where I think the game becomes less fun. Now, it also helps that Eldar are overpowered in shooting rather than in melee. If melee elves were good, I'd be singing a different tune. But I'm not, so I'm not. Okay, that is NIDS. Buy up those Norn stuff and put them on the table around me because I want to see them. That's my take.
It's true. And then I also want to talk about that they announced that the balance patch is Thursday.
Okay, I was going to do that in What's New, but if you want to do that
No, I think it's a top story.
Okay, I largely agree.
So first of all, we're going to talk about Charity Hammer here in a minute. And the fact that we're going to get the update a week before Charity Hammer is like some of the best news I've had in a long time. So we're going to talk about that. But I wanted to say that them on Monday, so Nova's over the weekend, okay, and Eldar dominate. And GW looks at this and says, on a U.S. holiday, on a national holiday, where a lot of people aren't at work checking their Warhammer community that morning, we're going to immediately tell you that the batch is coming. We're not going to wait till Wednesday. We're going to say, we know you're frustrated. It's coming on Thursday. And I love that. It's only 4 days warning, but it's still 4 days warning, right? And I really, really like that. And I am aware that the changes are big and not small. And I think the meta needs that. I think the game needs that. And I'm really hoping that not only do we see the S tier brought down, but we see armies like Admech and Voltron, Admech and Voltron, and actually now I want a Voltron faction. I want all the different color kitty cats, and then I want them to combine together. I want, like, on a turn you can combine them into one giant knight.
Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome.
Okay, I'm lost on that for a moment. Okay, yeah, that'd be great. I like Voltron. Votan and Admech and Death Guard. And I actually think Space Marines. I think that if we see Space Marine nerfs that aren't Desolators, that's weird. Because they're just not...
We're getting the new Space Marines book soon.
We are. And I expect that it'll be very similar to the Tyranid book, and it'll be very similar to what we have now with more detachments. So I'm very excited that they've told us when it is and that we can get ready for it. It's 2 days from now, and then we can start making lists and preparing for the next meta. That's my favorite time of 40K, is when I get to look at armies with a fresh and say, oh, these points are different. So, but you have to use only infantry the first turn. Can't start putting together as Voltron until things get dire. That's fair. You can't ever go to Voltron early because that would negate the plot of the episode. You've got to wait and do Voltron at the end.
Right, and the red cat is just being way too cool and throwing a hissy fit, so he's far away and he has to come save his friends. Or the black cat is the center, and anyway, sorry, I spent too much time watching Voltron as a small child.
And also, how are Power Rangers not just Voltron?
They are. It's fine.
No, it's not fine. It bothers me. It bothered me then. It bothers me now.
Well, because they were live action, not animated, and they weren't giant cats, so they were infinitely less cool.
I saw a thing that they're remaking Disney's remaking Moana as live action. Moana came out like 7 minutes ago. It's very strange. Anywho, here we go.
What's new?
Do we have anything that's new before I dominate the section with Charity Hammer?
Well, we should talk about the fact that at Nova, Marines got previewed as well, and that there were a bunch of minis that came out. I actually think we disagree on them. Personally, I thought the jump back intercessors were amazing and cool looking, and I think you think the exact opposite.
They're Marines. They look fine.
Oh, they make me very happy. The jump pack captain in particular, I think, is one of the cooler Marine sculpts they've done in quite some time. I would like those minis to be worth it and not just 10 that I will buy because I think they look pretty. I want it to be like 30 in, my pretend white scars that get that detachment. And the fact that just they previewed it, they made it seem like we're getting Marines sometime in September. That was the general vibe I got from the preview. And I think, to your point of Marines need to be pulled up, that is just true from the data. I think right now I am playing Custodes because I think Custodes are the best way to do melee in 10th edition. I do think that there are some somewhat underexplored avenues for Marines to do that. Both the French and Spanish WTC teams had slightly more melee focused Marine builds that I think are just underexplored right now. But more support on that front would be helpful. I thought all of the sculpts were really cool for what we got, for what were previewed for new Marines. And, GW generally doesn't like Marines to be in the pooper. And so I imagine that...
I'll be right back.
Support. Okay. Right as I was finishing what I was saying. So what else? Well, we talked about the data slate. Let me spend just a moment on the data slate and why I think that it's important that it's this week. They had said that it was going to be the second week in September. GW is notorious for doing things not quite on time. They're a British company, not a German company, not an American company. I guess it is the end of summer, so they can't quite, still be taking their European vacations. But I was anticipating it being next week at the earliest, possibly slipping because all of these things slip. I know there was some conversation on the interwebs talking about how last week was the first week of September because Friday was in September. And so there was some September in that week. And so this week is the second week of September. I think Colin's point of they were right. They saw at Nova the dumpster fire that is the meta right now. And spoiler, even if there weren't a data slate coming out later this week, when you go through all of the events and all of the lists that there are to go through, it's just like Eldari all the way down. And there's just not a lot of interesting things to talk about. While Colin is away, there was a very interesting article over on Goonhammer yesterday, I believe it was, where they did an analysis of how dominant Eldar have been over this period of time compared to other great armies of the past. And other than Cliff being violently wrong about LeBron being the GOAT of basketball, come to me for that conversation another time. It was really interesting and shows that basically this Eldar is right at the top of what has been competitively successful in 40K going back to 7th. With numbers to back it up and, the stat check level of numbers. So they're not just win percentage. There was a greater depth to that analysis.
Yeah, and there's even more to it than that because I actually think that the Eldar Codex isn't fun. And I think that we're going to see that as soon as they're nerfed. I think that we're going to see very low Eldar participation numbers once they're nerfed, unless it turns out they're not nerfed hard enough. But I don't think that that's the world we're living in right now. I think that they'll be nerfed in multiple different ways. I think that there will be core rule nerfings. And I also think that there'll be data sheet nerfings, and I also think there'll be point nerfings. So I think it'll be significant. I was thinking about it last night, and I don't like that it's only guns, that the entire book is only guns. Psychic powers have become guns, so they're guns now. And then there's no close combat, so then you're back at guns again. And if the best things are gone, I don't know what else I'm going to take that's exciting. I think that we're at the point now where people are using almost all the good data sheets. And so if GW notices that and this goes bang, 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 bang down the good data sheets, I think Eldar are going to be in a lot of trouble, which they deserve. They were too dominant in ninth. They're too dominant now. They've been too dominant for many, many years. Fine, GW, put them in the dumpster for a little while. I'm fine with that as an Eldar player. But even nerfed, I don't think I'm going to play Eldar. I'm just unexcited about where their rules are at.
Yeah,
So,
I am as someone whose first love is Eldar, I am hopeful that they go in the penalty box very hard.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. My favorite army, put them in the dumpster.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk Charity Hammer. Charity Hammer is 9 days away. You should know what it is by now. Everyone who watches this show should know what Charity Hammer is. People start getting here on Tuesday. Joe from War Games Live is here a week from today. He's going to get set up. The first and main stream for Charity Hammer will be War Games Live with his incredible setup and his beautiful cameras. I know that my first game in the GT is against a absolutely tremendously painted Orc army. And in fact, we've got such high-level hobby this year that we're going to make sure that we put pictures of every army up in the Charity Hammer Discord. Hey, there's a free Discord, everybody. There's a link below the podcast. Go join it. It's going to be your live update on everything happening at Charity Hammer. It's going to include who's winning, what prizes we're giving away, who the prizes are going to, all the stuff. But I, really, really excited about that. We're going to put pictures of all the armies up, and then we're going to let you guys pick a best painted just from what you guys like. And we're actually going to give an award out this year. So my first opponent is incredible painted. I'm not, but we're going to absolutely get him up on close-up cameras and let you see all of those amazing models. It starts Thursday at 2 o'clock Pacific. The very first thing that happens is just some kickoff games, some really neat ones. The very first game on the main stream is John Lennon and Ben Jurek, both from Team USA. Both are incredible players. They're the top 2 ELO people at Charity Hammer, and they're just going to play each other right off the bat because we can do that if we want to. After that is the big kickoff party where I'll do kind of a bit of a stage show, and you'll meet some of the players, and we'll talk about what's happening, and we'll also give something away because that's fun. And then Friday morning, we kick off hard. We go to the GT. It's 32 players. It's single elimination. Our lists are due on Sunday. And so on Monday, I will post all the lists and the challenge bracket. And you will go and you will predict who's going to win. And that prediction could win you a Necron army. We have a Kitbash Necron army. It is amazing to look at. And we are going to give it away to the person who gets the best bracket prediction for the GT. And it's amazing, by the way. Mm-hmm. So, Team USA, really? Says DK. We have 5 people from Team USA coming. Yeah, 5 people from Team USA are coming. Not 5 people that played.
3.
Only 3 people that played because Ben ended up playing for another team. So we have 3 people that actually played in the event. More people have played in the singles event. But yeah, lots of Team USA people coming this year. In fact, one of the things I'm really interested in is if you look at the roster from Charity Hammer from 2 years ago, and you look at who the elite players are, a lot of them aren't here. Many of them are on retirement. Many of them are taking breaks. They're having kids. Like the people that are coming are much younger than we've had in the past. And I think that that's really an amazing thing. So, yeah. Let's see. So the GT starts Friday morning. Round 1 and 2 is Friday. Round 3 is Saturday. Round 4 and 5 are Sunday. There's also the losers tournament for everybody who's eliminated in the bracket from the first day that you'll get to see. But just a lot. Saturday night we have the best Tyranid contest for 4 of the best Tyranid players in the world are going to each make a different Tyranid list and have a 2-round tournament with each other to see who's the best Tyranid player. Saturday night we also have the Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes hosted by yours truly. Where I will be making 40K players do silly and ridiculous tasks and answer bizarre trivia questions in order to win prizes that they may not care about. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a hoot. Right now it's at midnight, and it occurred to me that that's a terrible time to do that, so I'll be moving it earlier. Hold on. I have a problem. I have a school problem with a kid. Okay. Yeah. So I don't remember my train of thought, which is fun.
It was
Charity Hammer, fun.
Right? Yeah. Stupid time, stupid prizes, stupid games.
Play stupid game, play silly games, win silly prizes is probably what I'll call it. Because stupid's very derogatory.
Yes.
So very soon, what are you going to do? How are you going to participate? First of all, you're going to acknowledge that this is going to be amazing and you're going to set aside time to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to go and click on the link and go and join the Charity Hammer Discord. I'll put a link on the Charity Hammer website. I'll do it today so that it's there and you can click on it. There's also a Facebook event that has all the links in it as well, that if you search for Charity Hammer 5 or Charity Hammer 40K Slumber Party, you'll find that as well. Join the Discord. It's where all the updated information is going to be. Non-stop pictures the whole weekend. Everyone's going to be taking pictures and putting them in there. So join that, tell everybody about it, and then click the Tiltify link and give us a donation. We're going to start giving prizes away the moment the event starts. Anybody who donates now will have a chance to win those things. People who donate later will not. Every $30 you donate gets you a raffle ticket. We usually give away about $10,000 in GW product. So there'll be prizes given away every single game for the purpose of the weekend. Yes, it'll be in the description of the YouTube, Gerald. That's my bad for not having it here. So Charity Hammer, 9 days away. I'm excited. Tuesday is when, I'm cleaning now.
Mm-hmm.
And then preparing and ordering things. And then Tuesday is when it hits real here, where we start building and preparing things nonstop till Thursday. Wednesday night, by the way, we will have the traditional John Lennon and Colin Sherman before Charity Hammer game. This will be the 4th year in a row we've done this. I'm 3-0. Just, I don't want to brag. I don't want to flex, but I happen to be 3-0. I'm 3-0 through a number of ridiculous circumstances that are maybe beyond our control, but I'm 3-0. So we'll see if I can keep that going against one of the best 40K players in the world, and he's significantly better than I am. That's a bit about Charity Hammer. Next Sunday, Biff Pod at 9 a.m. will go deep on Charity Hammer. We'll show the brackets. We'll talk about... I should make the list due on Saturday so I can talk about them on Sunday. Yes, that's what I'll do. So we'll have the list. We'll have factions locked in, and we'll be able to go through the bracket and talk about the matchups. It's just going to be great. I'm just so excited. So Charity Hammer, coming soon to a YouTube near you. Okay?
Much excited.
Right. Many hypes, wow. Man, everything's going wrong this morning. I just started clicking and my computer wasn't responding, and I thought, this is going to be great.
Well,
what's winning?
The number of times that I accidentally click that when Billy starts talking is epic.
It's part of our shtick at this point. And
what were you going to say?
I was going to say, if your computer froze up and you couldn't really remember what was winning, this is one of those times where the answer is easy.
Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. I don't want to talk about lists. Neither does Billy. First of all, it's not interesting. There's nothing super exciting or intricate that we can go and dive into. And second of all, it's not interesting. First of all, and second of all, it's not interesting. So we're going to talk about who won because it matters. Their families care, their friends care. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to start with the biggest event, one of the biggest events of them all, the amazing, the wonderful Nova Open. And Nova had 300 and something. Yeah, 325 players over 8 rounds. They do the bracket thing where they bracket you out for the final 4 games of the 8. No, they changed it. There's a shadow round at the end of day. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's formatted differently than it was before, I think. Anywho, very, very good tournament. Always well run. If you're on the eastern half of the United States and you've not been to Nova, I'd put it on your list.
Mm-hmm.
The facilities they use are great. People that run it are great. They do a lot of charity work, which of course I feel strongly about. So big tournament for you guys to visit in the future. Nova's factions for the top 10 are Eldari, 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 Thousand Sons, Eldari, Orcs, Deathwatch, Necrons, Eldari, Tyranids, Eldari. So exciting, I guess. But what we have here are people that have actually won the thing. So it was won by Zach Point with Eldari. I do not know Zach, and I kind of love that. I don't know him. I'm sure he's a great player that's been all over the place winning things. I don't know him. Super hyped for Zach Point and his friends and family. Good job, Zach. What an amazing thing to have accomplished. And yes, you took Eldar, and I don't care. You take the best thing you can. And you did. Absolutely. And you beat all the other, you passed all the other Eldar players. So good job, you. Also, you took 3 units of Warp Spiders. So aren't you the real hero? Okay. Second place, Sean Reynolds. Exactly same vibe. Good job, Sean. I know you took Eldari. People are probably giving you crap over that. Doesn't matter. You took the best thing you could. You got second place at a 325-player tournament. Great job. Third place, Stephen Crawley.
Let me just jump in here really quickly because I want to double emphasize this. We are both saying we want Eldari to be put in the dumpster fire. Anyone who played them at a tournament deserves respect because you go to tournaments to win. You go to tournaments to have fun, but you also go to tournaments to win. And whatever you think can help you win is the right thing to bring. No one should ever shame for what people bring to a tournament.
Right. It's not your responsibility to fix 40K.
Right.
Like you're fine taking advantage of the things that are written into 40K. Now, I feel differently about abusing rule interactions that are dumb. Like, do you really want to win a tournament by this completely bizarre exception that you figured out? Maybe you do. But I think that you should take the best thing. Right? You should take the thing that you're excited to play. I've got no problem with the fact that these people took Eldar. I just don't like how good Eldar is.
Yep. I just wanted us to be I know that's what's in both of our heads. I wanted that to be clear and out of our mouths.
Exactly right. So in fourth place, TJ Lanigan, someone whose name shows up all the time. And he did have Thousand Sons. You know what? Thousand Sons are very, very good. But he does have 2 losses, and I bet they're to Eldar at the end of the tournament. Next up is Matt Shookman.
Stephen Crawley's name in third?
Yeah, I said Stephen Crawley.
Okay.
Matt Shookman was with Eldari in 5th. Brad Chester with Eldari in 6th. Mark Hertel with Deathwatch. What?
Brad had Orcs.
Who had Necrons?
Brad had Orcs.
Brad's army says Asuryani.
Brad's army.
Well, that's clearly Orcs. It says Asuryani on this to me. Okay. So Brad Chester had Orcs. I apologize. And you know what? Because they're Orcs, we're going to look at the list. Beast Boss, Badrock, Badrock's so good. Mazrog, who for his points is silly durable. It's just silly durable. Just like you shoot at him and you're just like, what is the deal here? Why is this Orc not dying? 2 units of Beast Snega Boys, 3 trucks, unit of Flash Hits. That's cool. 2 units of Gretchen, 2 Bubble Chuckas. 3 Bubble Chuckas. I don't know what those do.
They come in off the side and play the mission really well because they're small.
Okay. 3 units of Squig Hobboys, which makes sense. They're amazing. And then 3 units of Storm Boys. 5 Storm Boys. So good job, Brad. Way to take something that's not Asuryani when I know you have the giant collection. Mark Hertel had Deathwatch. Ted Williamson had Necrons. Riley Morris had Eldari, and Samuel Pope had Tyranids, and that's your top 10. Congrats to everybody who went to Nova, and I'm sure had a great time. Again, just a wonderful tournament. And now we will talk about the TNA Open in Kempside, Australia, that had 100 players for 8 rounds. There's not a lot of people for 8 rounds. Okay, well, Brody Middleton, again, great job winning a big tournament. I'm sure that you're extremely excited. You took Eldar, so we're not going to talk about your list in any sort of detail. But absolutely great job. His list is extremely meta. It's got the Incarn, it's got the Farseer, or the Wraith Knight, 3 Fire Presidents. Very meta. But great job, Brody. Second place was Michael Mintez? I don't know. Also with Eldari. Third place was Luke Pierce from the Normal Blokes with Chaos Demons. Third place is a really good finish for Chaos Demons. Let's take a look. Be'lakor, Bloodthirster, a Lord of Change, Shalaxi. So, and then a unit of Flamers, 3 War Dog Brigands. This is what I'm seeing from demons that does well. Is you take all the biggest demons and you hope that you can kill people and do the mission faster than they can kill you. Fascinating that that's a thing. I hope that demons are given more options than that soon. 4th place is Thousand Suns, which we're seeing doing really well everywhere. I'm curious if this guy's got Magnus in his list. Yeah, he does. We're starting to see Thousand Suns lists that don't have Magnus, which I think is really interesting. 5th place is Custodes, another army that I suspect will get kicked in the junk. 6th place Eldari with, David, I messed up here. Luke Pierce with Chaos Demons. Matt Thalzen with Thousand Suns. David Truman with Adeptus Custodes, and that's your top 5. Congrats, guys. Way to be. The third one is the Ogre Open du Grand es Saverne, France. We could not find this, so we can't tell you about it, but I can tell you that it was Eldari, Chaos Knights Eldari, Tau Necrons Eldari. So that's what's happening there. And then we have the Game of Westeros 15 that had 80 players. I didn't realize how many tournaments you gave me to talk about today, Billy.
This is the last one.
Okay.
And just read off the factions, go from 1 through 8.
Eldari, Custodes, Eldari, Custodes, Chaos Knights Necrons.
Yeah.
Cool. I dig it. It is WT scoring, which I love. So that's neat. Martin Holtgren won with Eldari. Great job, Martin. David Klang got 2nd place with Custodes. Dag Samuelson got 3rd place with Custodes. Pedro Chavez in 4th place with Urnani, and Johan Norman in 5th place with Eldari. Good job, guys. Way to be. And then you didn't do notes on the Gunhomer Open. Is that supposed to be me or you?
Me.
Okay. And with that, I'll hand it off to Billy to talk about a few more tournaments. Billy.
Yes. So we had the Goonhammer Open in the UK for 2023. Just listed as being in England, but it was 64 players in 6 rounds. It was Eldari with Chris Patterson. Skip 2nd place for 2nd. Eldari in 3rd place, Daniel Whitaker. Eldari in 4th place, Rafe Harbinson. 2nd place was Nathan Roberts. Nathan brought Tyranids. I was really excited to click on a Tyranids list and share it with folks, and then I realized we just got a codex, so it kind of is a little womp womp. Some of those are names that you do see quite frequently in UK events. Your pointy-eared overlords are still dominating there. Next event is Road to Atlanta 40K GT in Milano, Italy. Potentially the first event we've talked about in Italy. And one thing that just to mention from this, the reason it's called Road to Atlanta is this is the golden ticket thing that GW is doing. They're having a big year-end tournament where they're trying to get actual tournament winners and have a world championship. And so this was one of those. I believe the Ogre one that we discussed earlier also had a golden ticket that it handed out. So just a thing to pay attention to if there's a bigger GT in your area, maybe, it's one where if you spike, you get to come to America for a bit. This one is slightly different. I just want
to comment on that, that I think that's going to quickly diminish the value of LVO. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be a really big change we see to the competitive scene. Right now, LVO is like we have time, so I'll just riff on this for a second. Yeah, right now, LVO is the tournament. It's the one that the ITC's winner is crowned at, and it's almost always whoever won the event. It is a massive event. It's a big party. Everybody loves it. It's super fun. That said, it is a mess competitively. Nothing wrong with Frontline. Nothing. Not throwing any trash at anybody who runs the event. Nothing. The problem with LVO though is you have 1,000 people, and about 20 of them are amazing, best in the world players. And they're just wandering through everyone, beating everyone they see until they accidentally run into each other. And then when they do, it eliminates one of the best players from basically the top 16, which is what matters. Yeah. So by saying, well, you have to win a thing to come, that is immediately a more relevant end of season, who's the best tournament. And I have a hard time imagining that people will care as much about LVO with that existing. So I suspect LVO will turn into more of a Nova, where it's just a giant 40K party, and it won't be as significant for who's the best player, so to speak. So just something I've been seeing and thinking about, and I'm actually fine with that. I think that moving it to everyone we invited won a thing is neat, and makes the tournament more interesting from the jump.
Well, yeah, and there's, to my mind, adding on to that, it makes a certain amount of sense that GW should appoint the world champion, not the random hobby store that just saved competitive 40K in 7th edition and deserves credit for it.
Yeah.
But that's, it's a random hobby store that has sort of decided this is who matters in 40K for a long time.
And it's been super helpful, and they've done a great job.
Absolutely.
And I am totally ready for GW to take that over.
Yeah. And you're seeing that with, the GW Opens, and, we're all now playing GW tournament format, basically. And so, yeah, it's definitely a move in that direction.
Yeah. Okay.
Good digression. So this Road to Atlanta 40K was won by Necrons, Maro Santopadre. There's probably a missing C in there. It's probably Marco Santopadre. 3 Doomsday Arcs and 2 Lichguard bricks. Second place was Nicola Giannini with Eldari. So we'll skip that one. Third place was also Necrons, Francesco di Bonaventura. Francesco brought 3 Lichguard bricks. Necrons are the "you cannot kill me" bricks in the middle of the table, with stuff around the edges doing some killing and some mission play.
He decided that his opponent should be frustrated. That's the energy that he decided he would embody at the tournament. I would like everyone to be extremely frustrated. Here's my 30 Lichguard.
Yeah. Interestingly, in the one game I've had against Necrons, I found the 20 Warriors to be harder to kill than the 10 Lichguard, but that could have just been what I put into them. Also, the reanimating guy who gave that unit a 4-up invuln was more annoying than the Crypto Thralls. Anyway, enough of story time. Fourth place, at least an interesting result, if not the most interesting execution on the army. Eduardo Rinaldi brought Guard. Always want to perk up when I see Guard, because they were one of the things people hypothesized was going to be crushing us, and it has yet to. That said, what Eduardo brought is close to what people were scared of. It's the indirect parking lot. Gaunt's Ghosts, Solar, Ursula, and a command squad, 1 little lonely infantry squad, 3 Earthshakers, 3 Manticores, 2 Hellhounds, a Hydra, a Rapier Laser Destroyer, regimental attaches to get some really good characters in there, and then 9 Scout Sentinels. That is a good Matthew off the table list. So congrats to Eduardo, 4th place there. We have the Midcon GT in Viborg, Denmark. 53 players for 5 rounds. This one was won by Peter Herbid with 1,000 Suns. There was a Magnus in there, and it was mostly a character in rubric spam 1,000 Sun. Second place was Killy Pask with GSC. Then Marcus Jensen, or Jensen, probably Jensen actually, if I think about it, with NIDS, and Simon Oberlander with GSC. Notably, the highest placing Eldari the Midcon was in 7th place. There was a Space Marine player who did better. So that happened. And then the last event to talk about is the EA Slam 40K Major in England, 53 players, 5 rounds, won by frequently mentioned on this program, Clement Tournaud with Eldari. Chris Tull, 2nd place with Eldari. Both of them went 5-0. So Clement won on tiebreakers. Next 2 lists are actually just worth spending a moment on. Dom Maidlau with Chaos Space Marines. And Dom basically brought a gun line with some really fun stuff, but Dom maxed on the fun stuff. So it was Abaddon, Cypher, 2 of the Accursed Cultist bricks, 3 Forge Fiends, 4 Obliterators, 3 Flamers, Nurglings, Blue Scribe, Changeling. The fact that there is Nurglings, Blue Scribe, Changeling, and Cypher is actually a lot of really difficult to interact with mission play, backed up by that shooting and the Accursed Cultist bricks. I think that Chaos Marines are actually violently underrepresented. I think this is a very strong list, and I am personally quite surprised that we do not see more of it. That is my TED talk on Chaos Space Marines. And then in fourth place, Johnny Simmons brought AdMech. Generally considered one of the weakest factions. We've seen one or two of them popping up in the list that we talk about. And this one didn't have 18 breachers. So we'll talk about it. It had 12, not 18, but still. Call Dominus Manipulus, 10 Rangers, 2 10s of Vanguards, 3 Dune Riders, 10 Electro Priests, 3 solo ass chickens, the aforementioned 12 breachers, 2 6s, 5 Flappy Boys, and 1 Dragoon. So it is possible to bring your AdMech and go 4-1 at a GT. Johnny did it. This is a way. I don't know if it is the way. I would guess that if the general consensus of what we're getting on Thursday is like everything is getting touched, I would imagine AdMech is one of the armies they try to boost up.
They're going to be so touched.
Well, they were about as unpleasant to go against as some of it. They could stand in the same circle and talk with this 10th edition Eldar. Wow, there went my voice for a second. They could stand at the circle and talk with 10th edition Eldar, really unpleasant boogeymen of the meta, in my opinion. 9th edition AdMech. Eldar would still, be the big boy in that circle, but I'm okay with AdMech being, solidly B+.
I think they wish they were B+.
They do, and I think they should get bumped up to that, but I think that AdMech still need to think about what they did for a while longer.
I think it was so long ago now, I'm not sure that's true.
It was one of the heaviest times that I was able to play, and so I had some very unpleasant interactions.
Well, they had this whole thing where they were like, hey, all of my shooting just goes to you. What if all my shooting was just on top of you immediately? Yeah, no, it was rough for sure. I also think that armies like Sisters. I'd love to see Sisters get a buff. Yeah, that's a very popular army with incredible models, and we're just not seeing it anywhere.
Absolutely.
So that'd be another one that I'd look for seeing some improvement. Maybe they'll be touched by an angel. Who else?
I mean, you don't see a ton of Tau.
I'd like to see a lot more Chaos Space Marines. That's a huge amount. That's a huge amount of collections to not see, other than the one you just talked about.
Right, and I think that as much as anything, maybe it's an overlap of Chaos Space Marine players and like Eldar or Custodes players, because I legitimately think that Chaos Space Marines should be having similar representation to what Thousand Sons are seeing.
Yeah, for the Charity Hammer GT, I actually put effort into making sure we don't have too many of the same army. I try to make sure that everybody's represented to the degree that we can. And I know what factions everybody's intending to bring, but we're not making anyone lock that in because that would be silly. Because they don't know. Like some armies may be kicked so hard that they're like, I don't want to play this. But we have no CSM. We have no Votan. We have no AdMech. We have no Sister. No, we do have Sisters. I don't think we have Chaos Knights either. So some factions absolutely missing from the Charity Hammer meta right now. Okay. Well, I think we're done, aren't we?
Yes. Next week, big week. This week, an anticipation.
Yes. In fact, I would like to make next week's episode slightly longer.
That should work for me, although it is my first week back from paternity leave. So
maybe we won't make it quite longer.
We'll aspirationally make it longer.
Yeah. Or we'll just make the content feel like it was longer while still being within 60 minutes.
We'll talk even faster.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back next Tuesday. Remember, go love on Charity Hammer. Make sure people hear about it. That's the entirety of how it works. Mm-hmm. Charity Hammer, 9 days out. See you all there. This week in 40K, a week from now. The Best Overall show Thursday night. Best in Faction Sunday morning. Thank you, everybody. He's Billy. I'm Colin because someone has to be, and we'll be back at you next Tuesday. Remember, there's a lot of reasons to be hype right now. Be hype.
Mhm.
Bye now.